We're surrounded by power every single day, from the crazy complex machines we build to the raw, untamed force of a storm. We even work hard for it ourselves. But what if? What if all the power we've ever seen or felt is just a tiny little shadow of the real thing? Today we're going to dig into this massive concept of God's omnipotence and try to figure out what it really, truly means to be all-powerful. Think about it. We live in an age where we can do some incredible things. We've built these massive metal birds that carry hundreds of people through the sky. We literally build rockets that punch a hole through the atmosphere and just leave the planet. That's our power.
But of course, long before we had any of our engines and our rockets, the natural world had a power that was, well, way, way greater. The kind of power that can just split the sky open with lightning, or unleash so much water it can carve canyons out of solid rock.
And we even see a version of this in ourselves, right? We train our bodies to run faster, lift more, jump higher. We're always pushing against what we think is possible. So through all this, our tech, nature, our own bodies, we've kind of built up this idea of what powerful means. But what if we've only got part of the picture?
Yeah, what if all of that, every single rocket launch, every hurricane, every single world record is just a whisper, a faint echo of what true power is? What if everything you thought you knew about power is about to get completely turned on its head?
So this is where our human scale just breaks. It's not even a fair comparison. When we start talking about God's power, all our earthly examples just fall flat. Try to imagine all the power in the whole universe, every exploding star, every raging storm, every single engine, and it doesn't even come close. It's not even a drop in the bucket.
And this gets to a really, really important difference. See, things in creation, they can have power. Think of it like a battery, right? It holds a charge, but that charge is limited. It runs out. But God doesn't just have power. He is power. He's the source. Every single spark of energy in the entire universe flows directly from Him.
Okay, so this brings us to that big theological word, omnipotence. Let's actually break it down. What does it really mean to be all-powerful?
Now, check out the wording here. This is so key. It's not just about raw brute force. The definition really focuses on purpose. It's the holy exercise of power to achieve a perfect will. This means it's power with a plan, power that's guided by perfect intention. This chart here really lays it all out perfectly. On the one hand, you've got things that have power. It's limited. It comes from somewhere else. But on the other side, you've got the source itself. God is power. It's not just something He has in His toolbox. It's His very essence. It's the infinite well that everything else is drawn from.
And you see, this completely changes how we should think about it. God's power isn't some chaotic, random force exploding all over the place. No. As the source material makes clear, it is incredibly intentional. It's purposeful, and it's always moving according to a perfect divine plan. Now, this brings us to those classic brain twisters. The ones like, can God make a rock so big He can't lift it? The way to look at this is that those questions are basically trying to use our tiny, finite human logic to measure something that is, by definition, infinite. It's kind of like trying to scoop up the entire ocean with a teacup. It just doesn't work. Our logic isn't the right tool for that job.
So, if this power is so purposeful and so infinite, how has it actually shown up? Well, the source material points to a few incredible stories from history where this power was revealed in these really profound ways.
Let's start with Abraham and Sarah. They're promised a son when they are like 100 years old. It's biologically impossible. And when Sarah basically laughs at the idea, God doesn't get into an argument. He just asks the simple yet earth-shattering question, is anything too difficult for the Lord? The whole point is to take the focus off of human limits and put it squarely on divine ability.
Fast forward a few centuries, and you see the same idea. The prophet Jeremiah is told to go buy a piece of land in a city that's literally under siege and about to be destroyed. It seems like a completely insane thing to do, but God's question to him is almost the exact same one He asked Sarah, reminding him that God's power to restore things operates on a whole different level than our current circumstances.
And then you have Mary. When she's told she's going to have the Son of God, as a virgin, she asks a very human, very logical question. How is this going to happen? And the angel's answer isn't a science lesson. It's a statement about power. The source material points out that the real meaning here is that when God speaks a word, that word itself contains the power to make it happen.
And maybe the most powerful example is when Jesus' disciples are totally despairing, wondering who on earth can possibly be saved. And Jesus' answer, it just draws this incredibly sharp line in the sand. He says, look, from a human standpoint, it's impossible. But with God, all things are possible.
Okay, so these are amazing stories from thousands of years ago. But they bring up a really important question for right now. What does all this talk about an all-powerful God actually mean for us in our everyday lives?
Well, the scripture is actually pretty specific about how this power is available to us. It's the power to completely save us, the power to keep us from falling into sin, to supply what we need, to heal us, to deliver us from death, and then there's this last one, which is just wow. He is able to do exceedingly abundantly beyond all that we ask or think. That's incredible.
But let's be honest, right? This raises a huge question. If this unbelievable power is really available, why do so many of us feel weak and anxious and powerless so much of the time? The sermon suggests that maybe the problem isn't with the supply of power, but with our connection to it.
So how do we tap into it? Well, our source material gives us 3 keys. First, we have to yield. That means surrendering our own plans and our own will. Second, we have to wait. That means consistently turning to Him in prayer instead of just trying to fix everything ourselves. And third, we have to believe. We have to have a genuine, rock-solid trust that He is both able and willing to step in and work.
And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty challenging thought. The source suggests that God is actively looking for people that He can show His strength through. And so the question it leaves us with is a really simple one, but it's also incredibly profound. Why not you?